I've been formally introduced.
I know it's pretty colorful, but that's just so everyone knows we're good.
Ouch.
Supergirl, rated PG-13.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. This is FiveXFive and I'm Simo. If you haven't already, smash that like and sub button. Now grab your fave bevy, a seat, and let's get into it. We need to talk about Supergirl, but don't worry, I'm not going to spoil it for you. This is a non-spoiler review. There is a ton to say about this movie, both in terms of the actual movie itself and in terms of the discourse around this movie. So right off the top, I will say, wow, the discourse is really toxic, and I think you need to ignore it. I really enjoyed the movie, and I walked in expecting to be really disappointed and to really hate it because the reviews were so overwhelmingly negative and just critical in a way that really turns you off of the movie. And I think what we're seeing right now is a big full-on MAGA Zionist, like far-right meltdown over Supergirl. There is a effort to have James Gunn removed from Warner Brothers and DC Studios, and the Ellisons are in a position now to do exactly that. They've never gotten over the fact that Superman was anti-genocide, and so there is an organized online smear campaign against this movie. This movie, it might not be for everyone, and not everyone will enjoy it, but that is true of every single movie out there. But what I can tell you is that this movie is not bad at all, and anyone that is claiming that it is just completely full of shit, and they should, by saying that, tell you that they are a completely uncredible source of information. Now that said, I think the movie itself is going to really divide fans, and it'll probably kind of fall along the left-right spectrum. I don't know, if you're kind of the MAGA chud variety of movie fan, I don't think you're going to like this movie. I think you're going to be melting down over it. You're going to be apoplectic about it. But if you're everyone else in the free world, I think you're actually going to like the movie a lot. It's a lot of fun. It's a cool movie. It's not as good as Superman in the sense that it doesn't have the same emotional resonance. And I think that's a lot because of where this movie is coming out, and that's compared to where Superman was coming out, like in the middle of a genocide, and Supergirl is coming out, on the tail end of it, and they're different characters, and they didn't need to say the same things. So Supergirl is more of a character-driven movie, whereas Superman was more of a social commentary about the world that we live in at the time. If you're kind of expecting that, you might be a bit disappointed. I think Supergirl actually really wisely doubles down on just being a character-driven movie, though. Instead of wading into global politics or social politics, it doesn't, especially not in the way that Superman does. And you'd think that would actually make the far-right crowd very happy, but it's not enough to appease them. The knives are out from last year's Superman, and they're never going to get over that. So that not until James Gunn is gone, these people are vindictive and crazy. But on that note, Supergirl is written in a very different way. It's written in a way that is very empowering, and the character has tons of agency, and you're seeing Supergirl portrayed in a way that you've probably never seen her before. She's not even remotely objectified, for example. So if your version of Supergirl was like this pretty blonde girl that just happened to have Superman's powers, well, she's pretty in the movie, despite what Dean Cain would tell you. But the movie shows her at her worst, both emotionally and psychologically and physically. Like she's rough, she's vomiting and she's wasted, and her hair isn't pulled back for those moments. So it's a hard watch, and on top of that, she's going through a lot of trauma. That's what this is. This is a movie about trauma, and it's based on the original comic book by Tom King. And it's a critically renowned comic book and storyline. I wasn't a big fan of the original Woman of Tomorrow comic. It just wasn't my thing. So at this point, it's been altered heavily from the source material, so it's only loosely based on that. but it still has the same character arc for Kara. So that's not lost, but it does depart in a lot of other really important ways, which I won't go into for spoiler reasons. I will say this much. I just put up a video about Superman and how James Gunn has misled us about the Kryptonian message from his parents. And this movie doesn't explicitly confirm or deny anything in terms of actual dialogue and lines, but we do see a good chunk of Kryptonian culture and life in Kara's origin, and that's all happening on Argo City, and it is very clear that these people are not fascists, they're not colonialists, they're not imperialists. So I'm going to call this an early win on my prediction video. So this very much confirms the theory that I posted just a couple days ago, in case that matters to you. It matters to me because it's a little bit of a flex, right? What else can I say about the movie? The action is good. The performances are really good. There's a few things I didn't like about the movie. They're mostly related to the departures from the source material. I said I wasn't a big fan of the source material, but I still liked the overall story in general. The reason why I wasn't a fan of the comic was mostly because the art just didn't work for me. And I thought it was a really dark story. And this movie is a really dark story, so it follows. And I guess if I have a criticism of the movie, it'd be like, this is a really hard movie to watch for some people because it deals with really serious issues like trauma. And because it's so dark and it talks about getting through that. It shows two women going through that in their own ways and how they help each other go through that together and work through it together. And that's something you don't really see. But it's also really hard for a lot of people to see because it is very raw. It's an authentic take on going through trauma and surviving trauma. So I think people will have a hard time looking at it and watching it because they're looking probably for something that's a lot more, I don't know, rainbows and sunshine and a happy ending. And this movie isn't really that way. It doesn't end on a bad note, but it's not a, wrap it up with a nice bow kind of superhero movie. And I think a lot of people will also, like I said, the MAGA Chud crowd is really going to have a problem with the sort of depiction of women in this movie. It is a unapologetically feminist movie without bashing you over the head with it. In addition to Kara not being objectified, it shows her working through everything and without the help of men. In fact, the only thing I don't like about the movie, I think, is actually Lobo's inclusion. He's not in the original source material, and Jason Momoa does a great job with the character, but it's a very shallow character in the first place. It's just, I don't know, he feels stuffed in here, and there's one occasion where he does save Kara. I guess that's sort of a spoiler, but I mean, not really, because that would, most of you are probably expecting that would happen at some point anyway. But it's more like an interruption, and for the rest of the movie, she gets things done without any help on her own. And that's in itself going to be hard for a lot of people to watch. It doesn't seem like it should be, but when you actually take a step back and watch how the movie flows, I think you'll realize, like, oh, wow, yeah, she got through that. I mean, it was rough, but she got through that with no help at all. And in that way, the movie really stands apart, especially from a lot of superhero movies, but makes itself a very clear feminist story. And like, that's not going to be for a lot of people, and your mileage will vary. If you don't think female superheroes should be anything more than just window dressing and tits and ass, this is going to probably subconsciously, on a really visceral level, deeply alienate you. But if you want your female characters to be nuanced and have layers and depth and still kick all kinds of ass, I think you'll really enjoy this movie. I guess that's really all I have to say about it. I wanted to get this out there as soon as possible, so we'll work to do that. But I guess what I want to leave you with is give the movie a shot. I know it's tracking really bad, and I know the social media and reviews are really bad, but like I said, it is completely inorganic smear campaigns, and it's actually a lot of fun, and it's a good movie, and it absolutely doesn't deserve to do badly. I feel like I've said that a couple times recently over the last few weeks, but it really doesn't. It's a good movie. The performances are great, and there's nothing that holds this movie back. It's just not as like blockbustery, shallow popcorn flick as a lot of people might expect. If that's really a criticism, I'd easily give it a solid 4 out of 5 stars. Anyhow, that's what I thought. Let me know what you think in the comments below. No spoilers, but did you like the movie? Didn't you like it? Does the online smear campaign work against it? Let me know. That's a wrap for now. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. I'll see you all in the next video. Stay safe and look out for each other.